Assalamu alaikum everyone. Today we are going to talk about restrictive cardiomyopathy, also called infiltrative cardiomyopathy. As the name indicates, there is an infiltration of substances within the myocardium and there is a restriction of the ventricles to be compliant. In short, we can say that the ventricles are non-compliant or non-stretchable. So it is defined as primary decreased in the ventricular compliance, which results in impaired ventricular filling. That ventricles are unable to fill properly during their diastolic phase. So for non-compliant myocardium leads to diastolic dysfunction. That heart is unable to relax properly during the diastolic phase, and also there is more than normal end diastolic pressure. So end diastolic pressure is more than normal in this case. The cavities of the ventricles are normal in size, but the myocardium is stiff, firm, and thickened. When the ventricles contract against the stiff ventricles, when the atria contracts against these stiffened ventricles, there is atrial enlargement on both sides. Now come to its causes. The most common cause is amyloidosis. The other rare causes include sarcoidosis, hemochromatosis, scleroderma, chemoradiotherapy, carcinoid tumor, glycogen storage diseases, and idiopathic. But the most common cause is amyloidosis. Now come to the clinical features or the features of congestive cardiac failure are present, but the right heart failure features are more dominant as compared to left heart failure. Because of the diastolic dysfunction and more pressure in the ventricles during the diastolic phase, that is increased end diastolic pressure leads to increased backward pressure. So if there is increased pressure in the right ventricle, which leads to increased pressure in the right atrium, so more pressure in the superior vena cava, so which leads to venous congestion in the body. So the features of right heart failure includes venous congestion. Features includes hepatomegaly, splenomegaly, ascites, that is accumulation of fluid in the peritoneal cavity, and peripheral edema, edema in the periphery. Also the S3 or S4 sounds can be heard. We have discussed all these features in congestive cardiac failure in detail. Because of the stiff ventricles are not contracting not because the ventricles are stiff and there is a diastolic dysfunction and there is no proper filling of the ventricles. Because of no proper filling, there is decreased cardiac output. Due to decreased cardiac output, the patient may have the features of fatigue and exercise intolerance. And atria are contracting against the stiff and firm ventricles, so arrhythmias may develop in these patients, like atrial fibrillation and ventricular arrhythmias. Also, the important point is Kussmaul's sign. Basically, in the normal healthy individual, during the inspiration, there is a decreased JVP, that is decreased intrathoracic pressure during the inspiration. So there is decreased JVP, that all the blood sucks into the heart. So there is decreased or decline in the jugular venous pressure. But in this case, due to high end diastolic pressure, even during the inspiration, there is raised JVP. This is called Kussmaul's sign, that is paradoxical rise in the JVP even during the inspiration, unlike healthy individuals. So this is Kussmaul's sign. It is also positive in constrictive pericarditis. We will discuss the constrictive pericarditis lecture as well. Now come to the investigation. Echocardiogram is a key diagnostic investigation. Echo shows that symmetrical thickening of both the ventricles and normal size cavities of both ventricles, but enlargement of both atria. As we have discussed that in all the cardiomyopathies, echo is the key investigation. This point is very important to be remembered. The other investigations include electrocardiogram, that is ECG. It shows the low voltage QRS complexes, conduction abnormalities, and the features of arrhythmias. The chest X-ray shows normal size of both ventricles but enlargement of both atria. Other diagnostic or the investigation points are the cardiac MRI is another diagnostic test, and endomyocardial biopsy. So these are the investigations for restrictive cardiomyopathy. Now come to the management. There is no specific management for restrictive cardiomyopathy. Management of underlying cause is important. For example, for sarcoidosis, give the patient glucocorticoid. For hemochromatosis, phlebotomy should be done, or deferoxamine, which is basically a chelating agent, should be given to the patient. And management of heart failure should be done if the patient has the features of right heart failure. Transplant is indicated in very severe cases, and the prognosis of restrictive cardiomyopathy is very bad. So this was whole about restrictive cardiomyopathy. Thank you so much for watching this video.